The timeless secrets to success, wealth, and life that no one talks about. The biggest mistake we make is assuming that the world is changing more than it actually is. What if the key to success, happiness, and great decision-making isn't about predicting the future, but understanding what never changes? That's what Same as Ever is all about. Morgan Housel, the best-selling author of The Psychology of Money, takes us on a journey through history, business, investing, and life itself to reveal the timeless patterns that have shaped human behavior for centuries. While technology and trends come and go, the fundamental forces driving our decisions, greed, fear, ambition, envy, and resilience stay the same. So why does this book matter? If you understand what never changes, you'll make better choices, avoid common pitfalls, and gain an edge in a world obsessed with what's new. By the end of this video, you'll see the world in a whole new way. Ready? Let me break this down a little. Did you know that despite all the technological advancements, market trends, and shifting cultural norms, the fundamental principles of success, happiness, and decision-making have remained the same for centuries? Think about it. Human emotions, greed, fear, patience, trust, and resilience haven't changed. Yet, most people spend their lives chasing the new, forgetting that the real secret to winning in life lies in understanding what never changes. And that's exactly what Same as Ever by Morgan Housel is about. Who is Morgan Housel? Morgan Housel is a master at simplifying complex ideas and making them incredibly engaging. He's a former columnist for the Wall Street Journal and the Motley Fool, and his work on finance, decision-making, and human behavior has made him one of the most respected voices in the field. But here's what makes him unique. Housel doesn't just talk about money. He dives deep into why people think the way they do, why they make bad decisions, and how understanding human nature can give you an edge in life. His writing isn't just about wealth. It's about how to think in a way that guarantees success, no matter what happens in the world. Same as Ever is a book about predictability in an unpredictable world. It's about the things that never change: human nature, greed, fear, mistakes, patience, and the way people react to uncertainty. In a world obsessed with what's next, this book focuses on what always works. It's not about forecasting trends. It's about understanding the fundamentals of life, wealth, and success that remain the same across generations. If you're someone who wants to understand the timeless principles of success that never go out of style, or someone who feels overwhelmed by constant changes in the world and wants a mental framework for stability, or someone who wants to make better financial and life decisions by focusing on what truly matters, or who loves storytelling, history, and real-world examples that make learning fun, then this book is for you. Most people waste their energy trying to predict the future when they should be focusing on the things that never change. Whether you're an investor, an entrepreneur, a student, or just someone trying to live a better life, this book gives you the ultimate advantage: the ability to see through the noise and focus on what truly matters. By the end of this video, you'll walk away with life-changing insights that can help you navigate uncertainty, think like the greatest investors, avoid common pitfalls, and create a future that's not based on fleeting trends, but on timeless wisdom. So buckle up, because what you're about to learn will change how you see the world, forever. Part 1. The Illusion of Change. Chapter 1. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Every generation is convinced they are living through the most unprecedented, chaotic, and unpredictable times in history. Turn on the news, and it feels like the world is spiraling into uncharted territory. But here's the truth. Almost everything we experience today has happened before, just in a slightly different form. Morgan Housel delivers a powerful opening message. Human nature doesn't change. The way people react to fear, greed, uncertainty, and opportunity remains the same, even if the circumstances look different. The key to navigating life successfully isn't predicting the future. It's recognizing the recurring patterns of the past. History always repeats itself, just with a new name. Think the stock market crashes of today are something new? Think again. The financial booms and busts we see now are simply history repeating itself with different headlines. Let me give you some examples. 1. The dot-com bubble versus the railroad boom. Back in the late 1990s, investors poured billions into internet startups, convinced that every tech company would change the world. The result? A massive stock market crash. But this wasn't new. In the 1800s, investors made the exact same mistake with railroads, dumping money into companies that promised groundbreaking transportation. The hype drove stock prices sky high before the industry collapsed under its own weight. 2. Bitcoin versus tulip mania. In the early 2010s, Bitcoin fever took over. Everyone wanted in, convinced that cryptocurrency was the future. Prices skyrocketed, and then, inevitably, the crash came. Sound familiar? The same thing happened in the 1600s with tulips. Yes, tulips. During the Dutch tulip mania, rare tulip bulbs were selling for the price of houses. Then, the bubble burst, leaving people bankrupt over flowers. The lesson? When people believe they've discovered a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, history shows that it's usually a bubble waiting to pop. The danger of thinking this time is different. Whenever a new trend, crisis, or market shift happens, people panic. But the mistake isn't in the event itself. It's in thinking that what's happening now is totally new and unpredictable. In reality, the same emotions, fear, greed, excitement, and panic, drive human behavior across history. Here's the problem. If you think something is happening for the first time, you're likely to overreact. But if you recognize it as a repeating cycle, you can make smarter, more rational decisions. Most people waste time chasing the next big thing when they should be studying what never changes. If you want to be ahead of the game in business, investing, or life in general, don't get caught up in short-term fads or fear-driven decisions. Instead, train yourself to recognize patterns. People will always overhype new technology. They will always panic when a market crashes. Greed will always drive people to make foolish decisions. Fear will always cause people to sell low and buy high. The smartest people in the world don't predict the future. They understand the past and act accordingly. Now that you know why history repeats itself, let's move on to the next crucial lesson. Why luck and risk are the most misunderstood forces in success and failure. Chapter 2. The universal emotions driving our decisions. While technology, economies, and societies evolve, one thing remains unchanged: human nature. People in ancient Rome worried about wealth, status, and security the same way we do today. The emotions that fueled decisions back then, greed, fear, ambition, and the need for validation, are the same forces driving Wall Street, Silicon Valley, and even social media. Morgan Housel argues that if you truly understand human nature, you don't need to predict the future. You can anticipate it. Why? Because while the tools we use change, the way we think doesn't. This is why history repeats itself. And recognizing these patterns can give you an edge in investing, business, and life. History repeats because human behavior doesn't change. Let's break down some real-world examples that prove emotions drive decisions more than logic. Take, for instance, the 2008 financial crisis, fear and greed at play. The 2008 financial crisis wasn't caused by complex math equations or economic models gone wrong. Strip away the technicalities, and it boils down to two age-old emotions: greed and fear. When banks handed out risky loans to people who couldn't afford them, assuming home prices would rise forever. Regular people took out massive mortgages, convinced they'd get rich by flipping houses. Investors blindly poured money into mortgage-backed securities, chasing quick profits without understanding the risks. Fear triggered the market collapse. When home prices stopped rising, panic set in. Homeowners defaulted on their loans, banks started failing, and investors rushed to sell. When the stock market crashed, wiping out trillions of dollars in wealth. Now compare this to the Great Depression in 1929, the dot-com bust in 2000, and even the Bitcoin crash of 2022. The same cycle of greed and fear plays out every time. Different decades, different industries, but the psychology remains identical. If you recognize these emotions in action, you can avoid making the same mistakes when the next bubble comes. Another example was the gold rush, crypto, and social media hype. Let's take a trip back to the 1800s. Imagine social media existed back then. You'd probably see posts like, "Breaking news. There's gold in California. Don't miss out. Everyone's getting rich. Hashtag gold rush. Hashtag get rich quick." Sound familiar? That's because the gold rush was the 19th century version of Bitcoin. A few early miners struck gold and made fortunes. The news spread, creating hype and fear of missing out. Thousands of people dropped everything to chase the dream. Most people lost money because the real opportunity had already passed. Now compare this to Bitcoin, meme stocks like GameStop, or any financial get-rich-quick trend. The underlying emotion, the fear of missing out, hasn't changed in centuries. If you see people rushing toward an investment because they fear missing out, be skeptical. The biggest opportunities are usually long gone by the time the masses jump in. The illusion of rational decision-making. People like to think they're logical and rational, but the truth? We make emotional decisions first and justify them with logic later. Take investing, for example. Experts always say, invest for the long term. Stick to a plan. Don't panic when a market drops. And yet, what happens when the stock market crashes? People panic sell, and when a hot new stock is skyrocketing, they FOMO buy. And rule number 4. The richest people aren't always the happiest. We've all been taught to believe more money equals more happiness. But studies show that once you earn enough to cover your basic needs and live comfortably, more money has little impact on happiness. The study that shocked economists, a famous study by Princeton University, found that happiness increases with income, up to about $75,000 per year. After that, making more money doesn't significantly boost happiness. Why? Because beyond a certain point, happiness comes from other things: relationships, purpose, health, and freedom. If you're working 100 hours a week but never see your family, does making an extra $50,000 really improve your life? If you're always stressed about maintaining your lifestyle, does it matter that you have millions in the bank? Lesson: wealth isn't just about numbers. It's about designing a life that feels rich in every way. The hidden rules of money you need to remember. Money is about perception, not just numbers. You can have millions and still feel broke, or have a modest income and feel rich. It all depends on your expectations. Managing expectations is more important than income. If your desires grow faster than your wealth, you'll never feel secure. More money won't fix bad financial habits. If you don't manage money well now, earning more won't magically change that. Happiness isn't just about wealth. After a certain point, money has diminishing returns. Real happiness comes from purpose, relationships, and freedom. Final thought: the secret to financial security isn't just making more. It's knowing when enough is enough. Now that we understand the hidden rules of money, let's move to an even bigger topic: how success really works and the role of risk and luck in it all. Chapter 4. The one rule that has never changed in investing. Investing is often seen as a complex, high-stakes game where only the smartest or luckiest people win. But in reality, the core principles of successful investing have remained unchanged for centuries. And the biggest, most timeless rule? The price of success is uncertainty. Every investor, from beginners to billionaires, must accept uncertainty as the cost of making money in the long run. There's no magic formula to predict what will happen next. But if you understand this rule, you'll never panic when the market goes through chaos. The market has always been unpredictable. People often assume the stock market today is more uncertain than ever. They look at inflation, political instability, new technologies, or global crises and think, this time, things are different. But here's the truth. The market has always been unpredictable. In the 1920s, people believed the stock market could never crash until the Great Depression hit. In the 1970s, rising oil prices and inflation made people think investing was dead. In the 2000s, the dot-com bubble fooled investors into believing tech stocks would go up forever. In 2008, the financial crisis made people think the world economy was collapsing. Yet despite all these crises, the market has always recovered. Lesson: no one can predict short-term movements, but long-term growth is consistent. The uncertainty never disappears, but neither does the opportunity. Take Warren Buffett as an example. Why he never tries to time a market. Warren Buffett, one of the greatest investors in history, has seen market crashes, political chaos, economic downturns, booms and bubbles. Yet, he never panics. Why? Because he understands the only thing predictable about the market is its unpredictability. Instead of trying to guess when stocks will go up or down, Buffett follows one simple principle. Time in the market beats timing the market. Here are what most investors do and why they fail. They try to time a market, buying when prices are low and selling when they're high. But the problem? No one actually knows when that will happen. Even professional investors fail at this. They panic when stocks drop and sell their investments out of fear, locking in losses instead of waiting for recovery. They chase trends, jumping into the latest hot stocks, cryptocurrencies, or bubbles, only to lose money when reality sets in. Here is what Buffett does and why he wins. He buys good companies and holds them for decades. He ignores short-term crashes and stays focused on the long game. He understands that uncertainty is just the cost of making money in the long run. Buffett's approach isn't exciting. It's not flashy, but it works because investing has never been about avoiding uncertainty, but about learning to live with it. What is the lesson here? If you invest with a long-term mindset, short-term uncertainty doesn't matter. The only people who lose money are those who panic and sell too soon. Why the best investors focus on time in a market, not timing the market. Let's say two people start investing. Investor A tries to time the market. They wait for the perfect moment to buy stocks, selling whenever they get nervous. Investor B just buys and holds. They invest regularly, ignoring the news and market crashes. After 30 years, who has more money? Investor B. Every single time. Because while Investor A was constantly buying and selling, trying and failing to predict the market, Investor B let compounding work its magic. Missing just a few of the best market days can destroy your returns. Compounding only works when you stay invested for decades. The biggest mistake investors make is thinking they can outsmart the market. The biggest investing secret is that there is no secret. The market will always be unpredictable, and the only guaranteed way to win is to stay in the game long enough to let compounding work. Emotion overrides logic almost every time. Another example, look at job choices. The rational approach would be, pick a career based on long-term growth and skills. But instead, many people choose based on what their peers are doing or what sounds prestigious. The more you recognize your own emotional biases, the better decisions you'll make. Master human nature. Master the future. Most people focus on predicting the next big trend, which stocks to buy, what industry will boom, or what technology will take over. But the real secret isn't predicting technology, it's predicting people. For instance, if you understand greed, you can predict market bubbles. If you understand fear, you can spot financial crashes before they happen. If you understand status seeking, you can anticipate what people will chase next. Think of it this way. The stock market doesn't move based on numbers. It moves based on emotions. New industries aren't created by technology alone. They're built on people's desire for status, convenience, or belonging. The companies that succeed aren't just the most innovative. They tap into deep, universal human desires. Bottom line, technology changes. Human nature doesn't. If you learn to recognize the emotions behind decisions, you'll have an unfair advantage in business, investing, and life. Now that we understand the emotional drivers behind decision-making, let's move on to an even trickier subject, the unpredictable role of luck and risk in success. Moneybag Part 2. Wealth, Success, and Risk, What Never Changes. Chapter 3. The Hidden Rules of Money. Money is one of the most powerful forces in human history, but here's the catch. It has never been about numbers alone. It's about perception. Whether in ancient times or today, money isn't just paper or digital numbers in a bank account. It's about how people feel about it. Ever wonder why someone earning millions can still feel broke, while another person with a modest income feels wealthy? Because financial security isn't about how much you have. It's about managing your expectations. Here are 4 rules of money. Rule number 1. Money is about perception, not just numbers. We assume wealth is all about dollar amounts, stock prices, or salary figures. But in reality, wealth is a psychological game. The same amount of money can feel like a fortune to one person and pocket change to another. To buttress this point, let's take the Rockefeller as an example. The richest man who never felt rich. John D. Rockefeller, the oil tycoon, is often considered the wealthiest person in history. If you adjust his fortune for inflation, he would have been worth over $400 billion, more than Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Bill Gates combined. Yet, despite his unimaginable wealth, he never felt like he had enough. He once said, when asked how much money is enough, just a little bit more. That's the hidden trap of wealth. If your expectations grow faster than your income, you'll never feel satisfied. Here is the deal. No amount of money can make you feel rich if you're always chasing more. Rule number 2. Financial security is more about managing expectations than income. Most people think getting rich will solve their financial worries. But that's not entirely true. There are billionaires who stress over money because they compare themselves to other billionaires. Meanwhile, there are people with modest incomes who feel wealthy because they've learned to manage expectations. The key to financial peace of mind isn't just making more, it's wanting less. Have you ever stopped to think why lottery winners often go broke? Ever heard of lottery winners who blow through millions and end up broke? It happens more often than you'd think. Studies show that a staggering 70% of lottery winners lose all their money within a few years. Why? Because they never adjusted their expectations. Before winning, they lived within their means. After winning, they felt pressure to spend like a millionaire. New houses, luxury cars, reckless spending, it never felt like enough. They didn't just win money, they won new expectations that made them feel like they needed even more to be happy. Here is your takeaway. If your spending habits rise as fast as your income, you'll always feel like you're just getting by, no matter how much money you make. Rule number 3. More money won't fix bad financial habits. Many people believe if only I made more money, all my problems would be solved. But the truth is, money doesn't fix financial habits. It amplifies them. If you're bad at saving when you earn $50,000 a year, you'll still be bad at saving when you earn $500,000. If you're drowning in debt, making $30,000, you might just drown in bigger debt when you make $300,000. Why? Because money doesn't make you responsible. It just gives you a bigger stage to express your financial personality. Here is another example. Why some multimillionaires go broke. Did you know that 60% of NBA players go broke within 5 years of retiring? These are people who earned tens of millions of dollars during their careers, yet they still lost everything. They didn't learn to manage expectations. They assumed money would always flow in. They spent without financial discipline. The lesson? More money won't automatically make you financially secure. If you don't have good financial habits when you're earning little, you won't magically develop them when you earn more. Truthfully, it's not how much money you make, it's how well you manage what you have. Most people will ignore this advice. They'll keep looking for shortcuts, trying to predict the next crash, or chasing trends. But the investors who understand that uncertainty is just part of the game, they're the ones who will build real wealth over time. Final thought. If you can accept uncertainty and stay invested, you'll be wealthier than 99% of people who try to outsmart the market. And that brings us to the next chapter, why wealth is more about psychology than numbers. Chapter 5. The lies we believe about progress. From the ancient pyramids of Egypt to the skyscrapers of New York, one thing has remained the same. Humans are obsessed with progress. We look at past generations as primitive, believe our present time is the peak of human achievement, and assume the future will be nothing but innovation and success. But here's the hard truth. Every generation believes they're smarter than the last, yet we keep making the same mistakes. We fall for the same illusions, overestimate our ability to predict the future, and assume that new technology will magically fix everything. But progress isn't linear. It's a messy, chaotic cycle of trial, error, overconfidence, and failure. And most importantly, the rules of human nature never change. So, let's break down the biggest lies we tell ourselves about progress, and why understanding history is more important than chasing the future. Lie number 1. We're smarter than the past generations. Every generation loves to believe they're more intelligent, rational, and innovative than those who came before them. We scoff at ancient medical practices, outdated technology, and superstitions, thinking, how could they be so foolish? But here's the reality. If intelligence truly progressed with time, we would have learned from past mistakes. Yet, history shows that we repeat the same cycles of greed, fear, overconfidence, and short-sighted thinking. The myth of superior intelligence. Ancient Rome thought its empire would last forever, until it collapsed under its own weight due to corruption and excess. The Roaring Twenties believed endless prosperity was here to stay, until the stock market crashed and the Great Depression hit. The 1990s dot-com bubble convinced people that this time is different, until it burst, wiping out fortunes overnight. The 2008 housing market boom felt unstoppable, until the financial crisis plunged millions into economic ruin. Humans don't change. Our greed, fear, and overconfidence drive our decisions, and history is full of proof. Wisdom isn't about knowing more facts. It's about recognizing patterns and avoiding past mistakes. Lie number 2, new technology will solve everything. If there's one thing humans love, it's believing that technology is the answer to all our problems. Every generation has had its own miracle technology that was supposed to change everything. But here's what always happens. Technology doesn't change human nature, amplifies it. A history of overconfidence in technology. 1950s, people believed nuclear power would provide unlimited energy with zero downsides. Instead, we got Chernobyl, 3 Mile Island, and the fear of global annihilation. 1990s, the internet was supposed to create a utopia of free knowledge and connection. Instead, we got misinformation, social media addiction, and cybercrime. 2000s, financial algorithms were supposed to eliminate investment risk. Instead, they contributed to the worst financial collapse since 1929. Today, AI is supposed to revolutionize everything. But will it truly improve our lives? Or just create new problems we can't even imagine yet? If history has taught us anything, it's that we're really bad at predicting the future. The pattern is clear. Every time we introduce new technology, we underestimate the risks and overestimate the benefits. Lesson? Technology can be a tool for progress, but it doesn't eliminate human nature. Lie number 3. We know what the future will look like. Humans have an overconfidence problem. We think we can predict what's coming next, but history has shown that most predictions age terribly. Take, for example, in 1900, experts predicted that horses would still be the main mode of transportation. In 1960, people believed we'd have flying cars by the year 2000. In the 1980s, experts said the internet wouldn't be relevant for everyday people. In 2010, people thought cryptocurrencies would replace traditional money. Today, Bitcoin still struggles to be widely accepted. Even the smartest minds have been completely wrong about the future. The biggest risk isn't what we don't know. It's what we're absolutely sure about that turns out to be false. Chapter 6, Why We Overcomplicate Simple Truths. If there's one thing humans love to do, it's turning simple things into complex puzzles. We assume that success, wealth, happiness, and health must be complicated. We think there must be a hidden trick, a secret formula, or some advanced strategy that only the insiders know. But here's the truth. Most of the time, success comes down to doing the obvious things, consistently and patiently. Want to be healthy? Eat real food, exercise, and sleep well. Want to be rich? Save more than you spend, invest consistently, and avoid stupid risks. Want to build strong relationships? Be honest, communicate, and show up for people. None of these are groundbreaking insights, but the problem is people don't want to hear that success is simple. They want excitement, novelty, and shortcuts. So why do we make simple truths seem complicated? Let's break it down. The illusion of complexity. Why people chase hacks instead of fundamentals. Imagine you meet two fitness coaches. Coach A, eat well, exercise regularly, and get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Do that for a year, and you'll be in great shape. Coach B, I have a revolutionary new method. It's based on a secret formula discovered in ancient texts, combined with cutting-edge neuroscience. You'll lose 30 pounds in 30 days without dieting or exercise. Just follow my exclusive program for $999. Who do most people listen to? Coach B, because deep down, we don't want to accept that the best solutions are simple, but they take time and effort. This happens everywhere. In finance, people ignore slow, steady investing and chase get-rich-quick schemes. In the health sector, people ignore diet and exercise and look for miracle pills. In relationships, people ignore honesty and communication and search for manipulation tactics. We overcomplicate things because we want shortcuts, not patience. The best strategy is usually the simplest one. Stick to the basics and be patient. Let's look at a real-life example. Warren Buffett versus the gurus of Wall Street. Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in history, became a billionaire by following a simple strategy: buy good companies. Hold them for decades. Reinvest the profits. No flashy day trading. No gambling on risky stocks. No chasing trends. Just boring, disciplined investing. Yet, most people ignore this and chase complex, high-risk strategies that promise fast riches. They think it can't be that simple, so they look for hacks, secrets, and insider strategies. Meanwhile, Buffett keeps getting richer by doing the same thing he's been doing for over 60 years. Most people fail at investing because they try to be too smart instead of just following a proven, simple system. So why do we overcomplicate things? Why do we ignore simple truths and chase unnecessary complexity? 1. We think harder means better. There's a deep belief in human psychology that says, if something is easy, it must not be valuable. We assume that valuable things must be difficult, complex, and exclusive. That's why people dismiss simple truths like, eat less, move more. Weight loss, spend less than you earn. Wealth, be honest and reliable. Relationships, instead, they search for complicated solutions that make them feel like they're doing something extraordinary. Hey, the best advice usually sounds too simple because it actually works. 2. We are addicted to novelty. Humans crave new, exciting ideas. That's why people ignore timeless investing principles to chase crypto, NFTs, or hot stocks. People abandon healthy eating to try the latest fad diet. People ignore relationship basics and look for texting tricks or psychological hacks to get dates. The problem? What works doesn't change, but our obsession with new things makes us ignore what's proven. The best strategies aren't new. They're just forgotten in the noise of new trends. Chapter 8. Why some people succeed no matter what happens. Success isn't about having the perfect plan. It's not about predicting the future. And it's definitely not about waiting for the right moment. Spoiler, it never comes. So why do some people rise to the top no matter what obstacles they face, while others struggle despite having all the right resources? The answer: they don't rely on rigid plans. They rely on adaptability. They don't waste time worrying about change. Instead, they embrace it, adjust to it, and use it to their advantage. And that's why they win over and over again. The most successful people don't have a perfect plan. They have a flexible one that you've probably heard this advice before. Have a 5-year plan. Map out every detail of your future. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Sounds smart, right? But here's the truth. Life doesn't care about your plans. Here is a shocker. Economies crash. Jobs become obsolete. Technology evolves overnight. Opportunities appear or disappear in an instant. So what separates those who succeed, no matter what, from those who struggle when things don't go as planned? They adapt. They know rigid plans are fragile, but a flexible mindset is unstoppable. Jeff Bezos didn't plan Amazon's success. He just kept adapting. Jeff Bezos, one of the richest men in history. Most people assume Amazon's rise was carefully planned from day one, but that's far from the truth. In 1994, Bezos quit his job on Wall Street to start an online bookstore. Yes, just books. He didn't know if it would work, but he took the risk and adjusted as he went. When he saw that customers wanted more than books, he expanded into music and electronics. As technology changed, he shifted again, turning Amazon into an e-commerce empire. And when he saw a gap in cloud computing, he created AWS, Amazon Web Services, which now makes billions of dollars. At no point did Bezos say, in 25 years, Amazon will be a trillion-dollar company that sells everything. Instead, he built something flexible. He watched, learned, adjusted, and evolved. And that's what made him unstoppable.
Success isn't about guessing the future, it's about being ready to evolve with it. Why rigidity kills and adaptability wins every time. People who cling to rigid strategies often get blindsided when things don't go their way. The person who only trains for one job struggles when the industry changes. The business that refuses to innovate crumbles when new competitors arrive. The investor who bets everything on one trend loses it all when the trend fades. Meanwhile, adaptable people thrive in any environment. Elon Musk didn't start with SpaceX, he started with software, then banking, then Tesla. Oprah Winfrey didn't just do talk shows, she evolved into a media mogul. Steve Jobs didn't stop at computers, he revolutionized music, phones, and animation. None of them had a perfect blueprint, they just kept adapting. How to build adaptability into your life? Want to be someone who succeeds no matter what happens? Start by training your adaptability muscles. Let go of perfect plans. Create a framework, but stay open to change. Expect uncertainty. Instead of fearing the unknown, embrace it as an opportunity. Learn how to pivot. If something isn't working, shift your approach instead of giving up. Invest in skills that never expire. Communication, creativity, problem solving, these will always be valuable. Stay curious. The world is constantly evolving, so should you. Life will never go exactly as planned. But if you stay adaptable, you won't just survive change, you'll use it to your advantage and win every time. And that's how you succeed, no matter what. So after diving deep into same as ever, what's the biggest takeaway? The truth most people miss. Most of us spend our lives chasing trends, trying to predict the future and looking for the next big thing. But Morgan Housel gives us a game-changing realization. The secret to success isn't about knowing what's next, it's about understanding what never changes. Think about it. Human emotions, same as ever. Fear, greed, ambition, ego, and hope have driven decisions for centuries. From ancient empires to Wall Street traders, it's always been the same story. Market cycles, same as ever. The booms and busts of today are no different from those of the past. The tech bubble, that was the railroad boom of the 1800s. Crypto crashes, the Dutch tulip mania all over again. Success principles, same as ever. Hard work, adaptability, long-term vision, patience, these are timeless. The people who thrive in life aren't those who chase trends. They're the ones who understand and master what never changes. So, how do you apply this knowledge? Here's your action plan. 1. Think long-term. Play the infinite game. The biggest mistakes happen when people act based on short-term thinking, panic selling stocks, chasing get-rich-quick schemes, or making fear-based decisions. Lesson: be like Warren Buffett. His success isn't from predicting the next big thing, it's from knowing that patience always wins. 2. Stop trying to predict. Start preparing. Nobody, not even the smartest minds, knows exactly what will happen next. Instead of wasting energy on predictions, build adaptability. The people who thrive are the ones who can adjust when things change. 3. Focus on what you can control. You can't control inflation, stock market crashes, or world, but you can control your habits, skills, mindset, and decisions. Lesson: the most successful people in history weren't lucky. They were prepared when opportunity came. 4. Invest in what never changes. While others chase the newest trends, invest in the fundamentals. Relationships. The people you surround yourself with matter more than any external factor. Get skills. Technologies change, but problem-solving, communication, and leadership will always be valuable. Work on your mindset. Adaptability, patience, and the ability to stay calm in uncertainty are superpowers. Which lesson hit you the hardest? Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Want the full book? Grab it on Kindle, Audible, or hardcover. This is a book worth reading again and again. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and share for more life-changing insights. Most people chase the future. The smart ones master what never changes. And that, my friend, is your secret weapon for life.